I hear a lot of people reference the X factor in the golf swing, but then when I talk to them about it, they only kind of understand it. So I want to give you some visuals that help you understand it a little bit better. To help, what I did was take a stick here, put it in the front of my belt loops, and this is really going to help you with the visual. So I'm just going to go to the top of the backswing first. And at the top of the backswing, what you see is my hips have turned a certain amount and my shoulders have turned a different amount. So if I put the club on my shoulders, you can see that there's a little bit of a different angle between my hips and my shoulders. That's the X factor. Now, if my shoulders are here and I've turned the same amount so that these are parallel, I have 0 X factor. If I turn my shoulders to 90 degrees and my hips to 45 degrees, I've got a 45 degree X factor. And the X factor is important because that difference is what helps us predict how much power someone has in a golf swing. A bigger X factor tends to be more power. So when people talk about mobility in the golf swing, they care because mobility tends to let you have a larger X factor. But that's not the only thing. So if I go to the top of the backswing and I've got a real big shoulder turn, I have a relatively large X factor because my hips and my shoulders are different. Now, those are your guys like Adam Scott or Rory McIlroy who have those massive shoulder turns. You go to a guy like John Rahm, he's got a much smaller shoulder turn, but he still hits it pretty far. The reason being is even though his backswing is relatively short, he gets such good hip action when he goes back toward the ball that he still creates quite a bit of X factor. Now, I think there's something important to note here. The X factor is really about the separation on the downswing and not the backswing. I can take a huge shoulder turn here, but if I get out of sequence and I bring my shoulders first, I've essentially eliminated the X factor before I've even made contact with the ball. So the real key here is to get to the top of the backswing, create that X factor, drive the hips toward the ball, make that X factor even bigger so that by the time I've gotten to contact with the ball, my hips have opened this far, my shoulders are still at the target, and that's when we care about the X factor. That's what we see correlates to clubhead speed. So I hope that helps make sense of it to you guys. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Thanks for joining me, and hope you learned a little something today.